Welcome to the NFL Coast to Coast podcast brought to you by lineups.com. Nate and Josh coming here round one of the NFL. These games are on Sunday that we're looking at. Hopefully you already got a hold of the Saturday stuff, and we'll be looking to get some stuff down there. We are going to be coming back to you with videos for the playoffs here on lineups. So make sure you are subscribed to the channel and continue to follow along with us for this postseason. Nate, let's go ahead, jump right into the first game we're talking about here, Texans and the Steelers.
Yeah, we're actually going Monday night here. This is available on this slate, as far as what we're talking, and it is the one game pick we've got up here because I can't resist. Steelers at home catching 3. I mean, the Houston Texans do not deserve. They're not 6 points better than this team. They're an indoor team. Their offense is just not at all scary. I mean, there's Nico Collins and what else? At the third worst rush offense by success rate. A really bad offensive line that can't protect. I mean, the Steelers they've improved in all the areas that you need against this Houston defense, which, it's going to be a fascinating chess match in its own right. Houston's base defense that doesn't really move. Aaron Rodgers, who's trying to diagnose everything before the snap and get the ball out and whiz things by people's ear hole. That's kind of a 50-50, but it's the other side of the ball that I feel confident is like TJ Watt is back and playing well. Nick Herbig, Alex Highsmith, they're healthy. They're screaming off the edge at Stroud against, again, a really bad offensive line. Derek Harmon's there to stop the run, hence the 38.5 total we have here. So, of course, you want the dog. And, of course, you want the home team on Monday night. Pittsburgh, you might have heard at this point, has not lost since 1991 on Monday night at home. They did lose one. It was COVID, though. It was an empty stadium. So they're 23-1 since 1991 at home. CJ Stroud is 8-11 straight up outdoors in his career. Not to mention these other guys who don't have as much experience. And you look at their last 4 roadies for Houston. Tennessee didn't cover. Indy, that's a dome. KC got absolutely lucky with a dreadful Andy Reid decision. They would have lost that game. Their offense hit the tank, and they only beat the Chargers in fair weather because of a few missed kicks. Chris Boswell got his missed kick out of the way. So I say the Steelers have the absolute edge there in a tough place to kick with Chris Boswell.
Yeah, love it. Love backing them in this situation, which I think is the main thing here. And then you do have a lot of stuff working for your favor as well when it comes to the matchup, and obviously where this game is a huge part of all that. So let's get to this other one here. Eagles, Niners, going to take Saquon on the attempts here. I don't think this is something you need to overcomplicate. Just give the ball to this guy against a defense that's struggling a ton against the run, is going to continue to be banged up, even more so than we've seen. He's got 4 straight with 19 plus attempts since that game where they got bullied by the Bears on Friday there. Really weird. That was so weird watching that game. But averaged 22.8, so about 23 attempts in the playoffs with this squad last year. And talking about that matchup for them against the Niners, the front seven is it's all banged up all over the linebacking core, especially. They're allowing a 49% rush success rate since they lost Michael Williams there, and that is good for dead last in the NFL. They are 24th in rush DVOA on defense in general, and they just gave up $180 to Seattle, which is a team that is not good at running. They do it a lot, but they don't do it efficiently. And we could see Lane Johnson return for this front for the Eagles here. That would be massive at right tackle for them. And a couple other guys. We talk about that banged up core for the Niners. Now missing Tatum Bethune. He was the guy who was already replacing Fred Warner, hasn't been around for a number of weeks, as we know, and also going to probably be without linebacker D. Winter. So this is going to be a shell of the squad that you might remember seeing from the Niners when they were healthy at maybe 1 week earlier in the season. So it's just I think the end of the road kind of come to them with how banged up they are.
Yeah, I think this is a diversify your bonds bet on Saquon. You can have this be the staple, your long-term safety play. And then you go ahead and go 80 and a tutty, 100 and a tutty, 120 scrimmage yards and a tutty. He should run wild here. If Kevin Patullo cannot get it done against this defense, the man should be fired mid-playoff run. I don't understand how he's still there and what he's doing. Trevor Lawrence, 36.5 for the longest completion here, or longest pass. I think this is down at 35 everywhere because people are starting to look at this and scratch their head and say, wait a minute, the Bills don't give up any big plays. They are number one limiting passing yards per game. Most of that's just because they're 31st in rush defense by EPA, but it's also because they play this cover 2 shell, which just is designed to take away the big pass play and not much else. And they rally the ball and tackle. They're number 1 limiting yak. So it's not even like you're getting a long catch and run. They're 3rd fewest yards per attempt overall, and they don't really blitz that much to leave themselves vulnerable at the back end. They've in fact allowed only 1 pass play of 40 plus yards all season. That is the lowest in the NFL. And it was exactly 40 yards. So not even giving up a ton. And they're 4th fewest in terms of 20 plus yards allowed. And with the Jags offense, Trevor Lawrence is getting his flowers everywhere. There is a little bit of let's throw water on this with the schedule. 4 matchups against Tennessee and Indy, just dreadful defenses right now. And the Jets, where he looked his best. And yes, he got it done in Denver. Yes, he hit for a big play. But in general, this has not been a man who has pushed the ball downfield in tougher matchups against the Chargers and Texans. He was around 21 yards for his longest completion. He went under in 4 straight prior to this easy stretch. So I'll take the Bills. Multiple outs here. Bills pass defense is really good. Their run defense is really bad. Maybe the Jags just lean into that and hand the ball off a bunch.
Yeah, no, I think leaning into the game theory there for how this is going to go makes a ton of sense. And sticking in this game, whether the game flow goes this way or not, I think Josh Allen's going to be running a decent amount, neutral or otherwise, for them in this one. So his longest rush is at 13.5. We like this for him in the playoffs, especially. He definitely runs more, 51.5 rushing yards per game for him when he gets into the offs, 6 yards per carry. That's 2.5 rushes. If you're doing your math there at home, should be pretty doable here in terms of getting that in one, when you consider there's going to be some longer than 6 and then some shorter as well. And he is running more in general this year because mainly there's not that many guys that you've heard of or are good enough for him to throw to. A bit banged up there as well. But since week 5, 6.5, basically 7 attempts a game at 35 yards per game. We, like I said, see that little uptick in the playoffs for him anyway. And he does have a long rush of 11 or more yards in 8 of his last 9. So definitely creeping up on that number there, but has actually averaged a longest rush of 15 yards in those. So definitely getting over that number pretty consistently in these last 9 games. And when it's pivotal too, you obviously see him just sort of take off and run when things might collapse a bit in situations where it's I know I can get myself 5-6 yards. Every single yard is going to count that much more in a playoff game. If you look at his pivotal matchups this season, that might sort of equate to somewhat of a playoff atmosphere, both against the division rival Patriots there, 10 attempts, 50 yards per game as well. So those projections are kind of how we view this situation as well for him. I think it's going to be a pretty good situation where there's going to be pressure coming from that defense. Obviously, we know it's sort of a rush funnel, but it's not necessarily the same against quarterbacks the way that it does against the running back.
Right. And if they can't get James Cook going, then it's more dropbacks and it's more, scrambling around and finding nobody open. And then Josh Allen just turns into Superman. Right. And so if you take the 40 plus yards if you just bet his yards, you're probably going to be hoping for this long rush late anyway. In terms of all right, Josh, we need you to put the cape on. We need you to do your thing. And that's usually when he does it, is down the stretch. It's just going to be it could be a desperate spot here if the Bills are not able to build a lead because they don't have many advantages on offense other than Joshy. Oronde Gadsden in the nightcap here on Sunday night. Pats, their run defense has really struggled, but the Chargers offensive line sucks. And we don't know if Amari Hampton's even going to play. So we're going to see, again, more dropbacks. But this pass rush from the Pats is not really that scary, especially if Harold Landry can't go. So I do think Herbert is going to make some stuff happen. I do like Herbert for 2 touchdowns here. And I think he's going to be targeting his tight end because it's a matchup where you have 3 really good cornerbacks to match up on your 3 good wide receivers. We saw this 3 weeks ago, I think, at Houston. And Gadsden ran 70% of the routes on 71% of snaps. So basically every time he's out there, he's just an inline tight end trying to get that mismatch, trying to find somebody to run something against because Houston's 3 corners are so good. You also see Philly, 85% of the routes in that one. Jacksonville, 83% of the routes. So it's basically it's another one of these tight end funnel defenses are the Patriots. Because they have Christian Gonzalez, Jonathan Jones, and other really good guys there on the outside. Gadsden is a guy who's an explosive tight end. He leads all tight ends in explosive play rate. He's 3rd in yards per reception, and he's implied here to catch at least 3 balls. So, I mean, yeah, if you get 13 and a half yards per reception, again, yeah, do the math. You got 3 balls, you're near 40 yards.
Yeah, seems right to me. Could always liable to break one. To your point, in terms of getting those big air yards at the tight end position. So no qualms with that one. And I'm going to go with a vet here for the Pats to end things for us as we talk about Rhamondre and over 35 and a half yards, something he's done really consistently since coming back from injury, about 5 straight games with 40 plus here. So I think you like him and really the run game for the Pats in general against the Chargers high safeties, right? With that zone, really going to be some holes that you can run through and sort of a passive rush defense in that sense. And when they play on the road, you definitely expect that here when you look at the fact that they allow 40% of the yards they're giving up to their opponent on the ground there, 18th in DVOA in terms of their rush defense. So I'm not sure if we're going to see Rhamondre necessarily be the guy to break one. We've had a ton of home runs hit here by Travion, who will probably be in those positions as well, especially sometimes when it comes to playing out of the shotgun for them. But Rhamondre is still going to be the guy that you go to on the ground and pound. So like the attempts are probably going to be there for him. And they are going to be a little bit healthier on the offensive line as well. Another guy coming back for them, left tackle Will Campbell should be playing in this one. So there's going to be a lot to like for Rhamondre. Let's just call him Stevenson, running to the left side as well.
Yeah, I mean, you look no further than the matchup against the Bills, which is a similar defense to the Chargers. Travion hit 2 big home runs, but actually played 10 fewer snaps than Rhamondre. He played 35 snaps in that one and still cleared this number. And he's cleared this number in 5 straight.
Yep, love that for us. So best of luck to everybody betting Sunday and Monday. That's all the time we have for you guys in this one. We'll be back for you next week with plenty more looks as we get to the next round. But until we see you then, happy betting.